Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. I'm happy to say that we have gotten our case of the target pack, or the starter pack, for Black Powder Red Earth 28mm. And so in this episode, I'm going to show how I painted my Recce guy from Team Ember for the new 28mm game. So we're going to do this to a tabletop standard, something that you can paint all 10 guys in a weekend. One day if you really sit down and do it all day, but you should be able to do this paint job in a weekend. So, to get started, we primed it Mechanicus Gray, and we used the following Army Painter paints: Necromancer Cloak, Pure Red, Matte Black, Uniform Gray, Skeleton Bone, Wolf Gray, Dragon Red, Lava Orange, Matte White, and Jungle Green. Then we used some P3 colors. That's right, I said P3. So we used Coal Black and Bloodtracker Brown. And out of the Games Workshop line, so they're Citadel paints, we used Bugmans Glow, Stirland Mud, Nuln Oil, and Reikland Fleshshade. So let's go ahead and get this guy started. To start off, you can see I painted I primed my guy's standard Mechanicus Gray here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Army Painter Necromancer Cloak. I'm going to take a brush that is thoroughly beat to hell, and I'm just going to slap this guy up. A nice coat, particularly targeting the fabric of his pants. And little gloves there. So what happens is, a lot of this model, if you follow the comic art, is black. There's a bunch of different textures and materials that make up their clothing. So we're going to show some different ways to coat the black to make it look different, make the model stand out. I'm a little too hard there, jeez. Get back on there. And it's going to take a while for that gray to dry, so I'm waiting. Take some Stirland Mud here. Don't forget your tool for application. Now you don't have to use this mud, this technical paint. Some Elmer's glue and some sand will work just fine. Now this base has a little depression in the center, so I'm going to put extra down there so it looks nice and smooth. And I normally like to do this step before I go to work or go to bed. Gives plenty of time to dry. Now our guy looks a little dark, but that's alright. We're going to take some Army Painter Pure Red. This stuff's thin, so I normally like to do just one coat. Given how thin this paint is, I might have to do two. We're just going to hit his shirt. Then the other spot we want to hit, and the reason I select this model to demo this, so we'll just take the tip of the brush, deposit some paint on his shades. Because the idea is his glasses aren't red, but his optics shine this red light, so you see it all in the comic art. Then what I'll do, a little dot there, there. He's got some other objects down here. Put little dots in those. And now he's out of focus. Why is he out of focus? having a hard time with this model. Okay. So you get the idea. Red shirt. That's pretty easy. Alright, get that finished up. We'll move on to the next step. Hopefully as we increase contrast of this color, my camera will start being able to pick out the nuanced detail. Now before I go any further, I messed up on a little bit here. So you really can't see it on this model, but when you look at the comic art, they have like a little name badge. His weapon system's in front of his name badge that they wear on their chest. I'm going to show my test model for what I mean. So right there, there's a little plate, and they write stuff on that. But something else that I didn't demonstrate was they have these red strips down the side of their helmets. And all I did for that is I just found like a little edging in the helmet I like, took my brush and went swipe once. Don't have to worry about being neat. We're going to show you how to tidy that up real easy when we pay more attention to the helmet. But now, since we're using various blacks and grays on this to try to get close to the common art, I'm going to use P3's Coal Black. Now each one of the blacks and grays will go to a different texture in the model here. So the Coal Black is going to be for the backpack, the webbing, the holsters, all that little stuff right here. But we actually hold it where you can see it. So we can use this as a chance that if you got any red on it, just swipe it in, cover up the red. This is what allows me to get into the shirt piece. It sticks out at the bottom of the model. That I just put it in there sloppy, and then I use the Coal Black to edge it in to look nice. So we'll keep spinning the model around, hitting all this gear. Now we're going to move some Army Painter matte black. And what we're going to do is, keeping the idea of different textures, different types of black, and do his boots in black. We're going to do the primary weapon system in black. And don't forget there's his secondary. Back here, got the handle. The idea is anything, do a hard reflective on it, except for the boots. I did those just to break it up. So then do the helmet. And so now this is where we're going to cut in the red. So we'll turn by moving like that, which is an easy motion to do. Then we'll flip this upside down. And then just down with the rest. A straight line there. What we do is we're basically cutting in that box. There. Now we have the rectangle for that little emblem they wear. We'll go in and fill this in. It moves pretty quickly. Now I've got the black on the reflective bits. Don't forget he's got a little walkie-talkie up in the corner of his vest. Right there. What we're going to do is take some P3 Bloodtracker Brown, and Oh, Bloodtracker Brown is a good color for the Recce guy. I'll start painting his skin on. Now the reason I did the black first is that it's wearing these little tactical gloves. So I wanted to make sure that the black of the rifle is done. Ah, crap. Too far. Alright, if you do that, just clean your brush out, get it wet. Pull the offending color out. There. Okay, good. Saved it. P3 is one of the, I like the paints P3 does, but gosh, they make it hard to buy. Okay, get the thumb. Okay, so it's hard to see on this one where the fingers are. Got his business finger right here. Then so much of his fingers there. So we'll go ahead and finish up the arms here. Now to add a little depth to the model, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to take a brush that's been beat up to hell that I use to just slop this on the model. Now what this will do is it'll take the red, go into the textures of the red, it'll darken down the skin tone. More importantly, it'll darken down the coal black and Necromancer gray and bring them, make it look more like black with a different highlight. And this will simulate more the idea that blacks made out of different textures will have a different reflection on them. There we go. Now I'll just wait for him to dry. Next, we're going to take some Army Painter Uniform Gray, and we're going to take a small dry brush here, and I'm going to get a little bit of paint, and off camera I've got a sheet of paper. We're going to wipe it off till it looks like there's no gray coming off on the paper, and then I'm going to go like that. Just a couple swipes. This will hug all the little model's ridge lines. And now what it does with those different types of blacks is it brings them together, yet the original color, the tone of that black is in there. So don't worry about getting it on the skin tones. I want to get it on the gloves, because we'll take care of that in a second here. There. So now our guy is black in clothing and weapons, but it pops out a little bit with that. Alright, now that that's done, I want to take some Army Painter Skeleton Bone and squeeze some in my palette here. And what I'm going to do, take my brush, and I'm going to start, I'll work around the feet first, and then I'll just start Slopping it on the base. Nice and thick. Cover up that Stirland Mud. Now we're going to take some Army Painter Wolf Gray, and we're going to take our pointy brush. Now, for the Wolf Gray, we're going to just hit like the hard plastic areas. So the weapon systems in the helmet, the antenna, and the sidearm. So I get some paint on my brush, and then what I'll do is I'll just run most of it off. And then I'll take the side of the brush here, and I'll just start hitting some of these straight lines. So this is kind of like a highlight. I'll turn it. And get some more paint here. And quickly like that. For the helmet, I'll just go a couple swipes here, NVGs. And this shows that light reflects off of it differently because it's a different material. That's what we're going for. Excellent. I got that done. Ooh, let's get this little mic right here. Now we're on the downhill of this project here. So I'm going to go back to the P3 Bloodtracker Brown. What I'm going to do is just get a little bit of paint on my brush, taking the side of the tip, and just go like here. So I imagine light is coming down on the model, and so just hit some of the fingers here. And that'll create some depth to the model. Alright, but I want a little bit more contrast. I'm going to take some Bugmans Glow. I only need a little bit of this. So I dip my brush and I wipe, enlarge it off, and just a little streak like that. The well-defined muscle tone here. So, see, it gives it a little bit of depth if my camera will focus. Run across. See, sometimes when I put too much on, I use my pinky to wipe it off. There we go. So I'm liking how the skin color came out. Some good contrast in the shadows there. Now let's focus on the red parts again. So I'm going to get some dragon red. And we're going to do the same thing I did with the skin tone. Just hit some of the bulging muscles here. Just go like that. And we're doing the same thing. We're just putting it where the light would hit down on it. Just put a quick little run on his glasses here. The more layers you put down, the more intense the color. Now if I could get to the plate, I would hit it there. But we're just gonna, that little emblem painted on, just put one little streak there. We're gonna stay inside the box though. We don't want to ruin the rectangle that we were able to get cut in up there. Then, very carefully, this is why we're using a sharp tip brush. I'm just going to hit the center, all our optics in there. And you can also get, since these glow, you can also get the back side of them in this model. Now if you wanted to get fancy, you'd show the glow hitting the helmet. But I'm not that fancy. Alright, so I think we've got the red on there as much as I want. Now what we're going to do is some Army Painter Lava Orange. This is kind of going to be a highlight. So just the tops. And what happens is my brush is wet, and so when I put the orange over the red, it's kind of more, acts more like a glaze. I got a little bit on his arm there. Get that off. Now I'm going to use the orange on the glasses, but what I'm going to do, just put like a little streak there. Make them run all in the same direction. Now resharpen the tip. Get most of the paint off. Just hit inside the optics. Like that. Alright, now we're going to have to let that dry for a little bit. Since we're going to have to let that dry, I need to take a break. I am going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, messed up brush, I'm going to push that into the skeleton bone. So all my miniature desert bases have this, so I'm just going to make these guys match. Okay, there we go. Now we'll wait for that to dry. Now we're ready to finish touching up this model. Last couple steps, you don't have to do these if you don't want. So we're going to take some Army Painter Matte White. And these are going to give us that comic-like, comic as graphic novel-like. Okay. So just take a little corner right there, and then down the length, a little touch right there, we take just a little bit down the length of the barrel for a dramatic effect. Now, normally I do very tiny little swipes at the glasses, but for this one to match the graphic novel, do a bigger swipe. See? Just like that. I don't know if I'm happy how that came out. Fortunately, this is 28mm. I'll be standing far away. Okay, there. That's good. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to dip my brush in, and I'm going to spin my brush, wipe most of it off, and jab it in its optic eye. Right there. There we go. And let's see, where else can we do that? Pistol grip. Sure, it's a different material. Alright. If I put too much on, I just wipe it off. I hit pinky real quick. Alright, got a little hand grenade right here. Just a little wipe. I'll save some for the helmet. The helmet I like to do less than the rifle, so we'll just go... There we go. You know, I might have gotten his... Well, maybe just eyes are the toughest. There we go. That's better. Alright, now he's got little keys down there. I don't know exactly what those are, but I see them in all sorts of colors, so I'm going to take some Army Painter Jungle Green. Now this won't make it look exactly like in the graphic novel or some of the artwork in the rule book, but I'm going to do the same thing I did with the white. Spin that. I'm just going to hit the edges. And it's just a fast way to kind of get that glowing color. So there we go. And I would call that a day. Now, normally I do is use Bugmans glow around the rim of the base, but pick whatever color you want for your squad for the rim job. Alright. Well, thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs, and we'll see you next time.